Okay, so we're going to go over quickly, because I only have 5 minutes, of my paper, which is Parental Substance Use and the Impact on Family Systems. So the two theoretical perspectives I used were family systems theory by Murray Bowen and attachment theory by John Bowlby. So we know that the child's attachment to their primary caregiver is crucial and a large predictor of that relationship. But if the parent is unavailable because of substance use, that relationship can become incredibly disruptive and impact the child's future functioning. And with family system, we know that no act within the family occurs in isolation, and every behavior has implications. And so the parental substance use will impact each member of the family, not just the individual. And the family holds contextual information about the substance use and how it is developed and is being maintained. So some outcomes in children, this was all shown through the research. So they have negative emotionality, which coincides with that last bullet point of emotional pain or lack of emotion. Cognitive deficiencies, maladaptive behaviors, externalizing and internalizing behaviors, increased substance use, inability to feel safe and free to express their emotions, drug experimentation, which if a child's parent has had a lot of issues with drugs, their age of onset is likely to be earlier than their peers. They have an implicit bias towards drugs and alcohol. There's a greater risk of exposure and psychosocial distress, worse performance in school than their peers, and mental health disorders. So some of the outcomes in parents, drugs are physically, emotionally, and mentally destructive. Low parental monitoring and poor parent-child relationships. Research actually showed that a good amount of parental monitoring is healthy, but if it's too polarizing, meaning too low or too high, that can be harmful, as well as lack of mentalizing abilities. So some of the strengths and weaknesses of that research is that we can understand the risks for children and what parent qualities are crucial. SAMHSA is a great website to understand and see lots of resources for families, but we don't know much about the comorbidity of mental health disorders, as well as we don't have any information about suicidal ideation or suicide. There's not many early intervention or prevention programs. There's no diverse populations from the research found, so we need more information from marginalized groups to understand different family functioning and unique perspectives. And we should have a longitudinal research study to show children of substance use disorder parents who and how their behavior and emotion is going from infancy to adolescence compared to children who don't have parents diagnosed with substance use disorder. For future research, again, that longitudinal study to be able to find repetitive patterns and use prevention to interrupt that cycle. Adults coming out of drug courts should have more resources, and they shouldn't be left to fend for themselves. So maybe researching what could be helpful, as well as the impact of mental health for children whose parents are using, and intervention strategies for adolescents in the home who feel alone and isolated, and again, marginalized groups. So we don't know much about prenatal methamphetamine exposure, which was mentioned in the research. It's not accessed easily by marginalized groups. There needs to be more research for family systems treatment for mothers and adolescents. We don't know how the other parent plays into the disorder, but family systems has been proven to be great, which is awesome. A strong attachment between child and parent is crucial, and there's great understanding for implications for children whose parents are abusing drugs. And there's a great report of the Office of Justice Programs going over lots of different programs in the United States. And so some implications, we need more interventions for parents, helping the parent to recognize risks for the child. As a systemic therapist, to look into the patterns in the family and help create a new way of functioning to disrupt the addictive patterns, involving pediatricians, psychiatrists, scientists, and social workers. And getting a licensed alcohol and drug counselor license is super critical. We need interventions for parents. Relational, environmental, and social factors should be taken into consideration when looking at parental substance use and parenting skills. I'm sorry that was fast, but that's pretty much an overview of my paper.